of your practical lecture. Now, in the theoretical part, if you look at historical exams and so forth, it was all about IEEE, floating point numbers and how that is represented. You haven't covered that yet in your practice, so you don't have to expect a question like that. But you must know how to translate a 2's complement number into binary. Right? That's part of one of your first lectures that you had. 2's complement is typically a negative number, and we can take a negative number and we can translate that negative number into binary. In one of them, we can do that using 2's complement. You need to know how to do that and then translate. Also, you need to understand how the stack diagrams work for a specific type of function. Right? Making sure that you understand the number of parameters in the function and the type of parameters. Because if you think about it, a parameter can either be an integer value or it can be a pointer, meaning an address of something. We typically have an address of something when we refer to an array. So if we send a pointer to an array as a parameter, don't tell us that that is the array. That is incorrect. It is the address of the array. It is the value of the number of items. Make sure that you understand that that is how it should be reflected in your stack diagram. Those things in your parameters are always, the first one is always an EBP plus. Make sure that you understand when you look at a typical C++ function or any kind of function, and you read from left to right, the first parameter is always a plus 8. The second parameter is always a typically plus 12, and then it's plus 16 and plus whatever. Okay. So make sure that you have that order correct as well. So what is an EBP plus 4? It's the return address of the calling function. Then you've got your old EBP, and then at EBP minus, you may have a local variable, maybe not, but you will definitely have a number of registers, and you will have your flags that get stored in there. Now, when you think about the registers, make sure that you consider whether EAX should be one of those registers. EAX is only gets pushed onto the stack if you have a void function. If you have a function that returns something, then the EAX should not be part of your stack. Remember that one. And then the last, so that is 10 marks for all of that theory part. And then question 6 is your assembly language. And again, there's easy marks. Don't think that you can't do it, guys. There's easy marks that you will always get. And think about now, you will be given a function to represent. Now, there's always a certain pattern that you will always find in any function. Giving at least that pattern will give you some marks. Very important things that we look at is again the role of the EAX register and the order in which you push. You create your stack frame and you're destroying your stack frame. Make sure that you do know when you push things in a certain order in the start, make sure that you do the inverse at the bottom. Make sure that you understand that when we have a function again that returns something, meaning it's not a void or something like that, then EAX should not be part of the pushing and the popping. And then the last thing that you will always have is your rect. Rect. That's the keyword, and then a value after it. Now the value is not some magic thing, it is the number of parameters. If you've got 2 parameters, then the value is always an 8. If you've got 1 parameter, then this value is always a 4. If your function takes no parameters, then it's red on its own, nothing after. Right, so that's the basic principle, and then obviously the stuff in there is just a mean. That's where you can basically get, okay, you really kind of understand what you're doing. But you typically have to also know how to access array items. How do you access specific item inside an array, that's the type of thing, and then obviously doing some multiplication and division and that with it. So loop structures, is maybe do something with an array item. Questions? Don't discount the assembly stuff, right? It's like 3 marks. Do something. Yes. So question 5 was, as I said, was 10 marks, and question 6 is 15 marks. So exactly like we have another hand. What you guys from your sorry? Okay, what asked recursion? I don't know.